the last time we talked about this, there's been a lot that has changed since last Friday, and we've learned about, he has gone from straight white male from American family and goddamn the conservative guy. He went out and got that Charlie Kirk, to now we know that he was just some radicalized freak, and we talked about that at Friday. But now we're learning more about him based off of people who knew of him, people he associated with, and we have a clear picture of who this fuckface is. And this starts with one guy who went to school with him in high school, and I thought the way that he describes him is something that I think a lot of people they know a guy just like fuckface.
I went to school with this Tyler Robinson kid. I'll show y'all. That's him right there. Tyler Robinson. I'm not trying to like clout chase, make this shit about me, but I'm not gonna say I knew this kid really well. I didn't know him very well at all, but I definitely saw him for like 3 straight years in high school. And the best way I could describe him is just like a Reddit kid. I don't know. I feel like if you were in high school around that same time, and even probably now, like 2018, and then like, those kinds of kids, but that's exactly what he was. All I'm gonna say is this is the kind of shit that happens when you spend way too much time online, and all of a sudden your beliefs are all the way this way or all the way this way, and you do some dramatic shit to please these people that are not your friends. This internet shit is seriously no joke.
Man, how many of y'all know that weird Reddit kid? The guy who's terminally online, who went all the way this way or this way, which I think says a lot about this kid.
I wonder if he was voted most likely to be a gay furry.
Well, we have definitely learned more, but I'll tell you, I think that does say a lot about his time on Reddit. If this is a kid, we know that Reddit has become a crazy left echo chamber, right? And if you have any ideas, any thought process that is any right of hard left, you are seen as a literal Nazi, and they will not even give you the platform on Reddit and the subreddits. And I remember hearing about, Reddit's been around for a good while, but a lot of my former coworkers, they would talk about how they get all their news from Reddit. And this is, a decade ago now. And to kind of see some of the things that they've said or not said over the last little bit, knowing that they get a lot of their news from Reddit, really, once again, we're connecting dots here. You can see the thought process that these people have had. But Flash, you said, some of the things we learned about this guy based off of people that knew him, his parents, friends, people in Discord groups, Reddit, and things like that. We have this: parents say he turned to radical left-wing ideology. Childhood friends. Yes.
Sorry, Craig. Before you get, did you see the news? I don't know if there's been any updates on it, but apparently there were out-of-state license plates going in and out of his place.
Yeah.
Like the day before or something that all this went down?
Leading up to it, yeah. I think they said within the month before, yeah. Which we're going to get to some updates on that. I've got a video from Fox News where Kash Patel goes on and gave updates. We'll look at that here in a second. But parents said he turned to radical left-wing ideology. Childhood friends that he was left on pretty much everything. Was dating a transgender. Was living with a transgender and involved with a local transgender terrorist network. Had shell casing saying "notice his bulge," which is a joke about noticing a trans male to female bulge. Had shell casing saying "catch fascist." Multiple yes.
The OWO thing is furry.
Yep. Multiple transgender accounts in the area posted the day before saying something is going to happen at the Charlie Kirk event tomorrow. And local government says Tyler was deeply indoctrinated with left-wing ideology. So this is just a quick TLDR of all this. And, the radicalization of this guy needs to be studied to go from, I think that's probably the most scary thing to me is you can be a parent, you can raise your kids as well and throw and teach them good values, teach them that the family unit is incredibly important, surround them with family members that love them. But at the end of the day, they can still be caught by this literal indoctrination, this radicalization that happens on Discord, on Reddit, in these various groups, to the point to where you go from a fairly normal kid to an assassin in just a few short years. And what the former classmate said about doing something to appease people that aren't actually your friends, man, there's a lot of truth in that. This idea that you're in these message boards and you're talking about whatever, and they have no interest in being your friend. They're just all about egging you on. Oh, wouldn't it be funny if somebody shot Charlie Kirk? Oh, I'll do it. Blah 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 blah. You know, it's pretty disgusting.
It was my doppelganger.
Yeah. Well, we have this, and we're not going to watch this whole video, but we are going to watch several minutes of it. I'll put it on at like 1.25 speed, so we'll go through it a little bit quicker. But this will provide a little bit more detail on this, and we'll watch about 7-8 minutes of this real quick, and we'll stop and go as we go.
He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating. We can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female, and that he is cooperating with authorities.
A Fox News alert. Charlie Kirk's murder suspect refusing to cooperate as the FBI discovers new details about his dark digital footprint before he makes his first court appearance tomorrow.
All right.
He's going to court tomorrow.
Just so people know, in the mug shots, we were talking about it before the stream started. He's wearing a suicide jacket. It's called turtle suit.
To prevent him from...
He's strapped down so he can't hurt himself. He probably wants to try and take himself out.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about that. The idea that he was, man, if that's the case, I'm glad that he's wrapped up and he can't do anything, because I want to see this motherfucker trotted out. Yeah, you know,
I want him to sit in jail, have to deal with the prison, because he's not made for prison. So he's gonna get the full treatment. I want the full treatment.
Let's. So they bring in Kash Patel here.
FBI Director Kash Patel joins us now. I can't imagine, Mr. Director, how busy you've been, especially Charlie Kirk isn't just a impactful person. He's your friend. So I understand that. But having said that, people are looking to you to find out is how big this investigation is going to be. Can you tell us the latest?
Absolutely. It's so good to be with you. And you're right. My personal feelings and relationship with Charlie, I have a job to do for the American people, and I'm committed to do it for President Trump. We flexed all resources the FBI had and surged multiple air assets as soon as this shooting occurred. We were cycling in agents, evidence response technicians, hostage rescue technicians, and special operators in and out of Utah, cycling evidence back and forth on these FBI planes as soon as we could so that there was no delay. And what we did, once I got there, along with the deputy on the ground, around 5 p.m. local on September 11th, was walk the entire crime scene, including the foots the suspect himself took. And what we learned was there was evidence, DNA evidence, that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded, and the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. I even walked into the wooded area in the ravine, so I knew from my investigative experience what I could bring to the table and what decisions I needed to make. And having the support of President Trump and the full support of the White House was what we needed for these resources to happen. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
So, Mr. Director, that is...
So that's pretty big news right there. Kind of broken this morning. DNA matching up with a lot of stuff, and it's funny. I see there's a lot of people who are very skeptical. Well, Mercenary is very skeptical. Says Robinson's too convenient for me to accept. I mean, DNA is DNA. When it comes to this, and you have all these things that line up. I don't know. I mean, yes, is it convenient that he, I think he. Well, I don't even know what I think about this as far as if he acted alone or not. I'm sure there were accomplices or people who egged him on, but I don't want to speculate. Go ahead, Phoenix.
I was just going to say real quick, like Kash Patel and Kirk were very, very good friends. I'm not sure I would understand why Patel would intentionally, I guess in this case, not want to look for the proper person in this event. That's my little opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Let's go continue here. There's a little bit more.
vital, that is breaking news and vital information, because now you have the casings for the gun, so you connect the gun. Now you got his DNA on it. That's huge. But I also want to get to another part.
I just got to interrupt. Sorry, I just got to interrupt. We have the DNA on the screwdriver that was found on the rooftop and the towel that the firearm was wrapped in. The firearm itself, this is a great point. Thanks for raising it.
Yeah, no
that
problem.
is being processed by ATF laboratories in Maryland, and I believe they'll speak to that at a later date when their process is incomplete. But I just want to let you know the FBI handled the screwdriver and the towel found on
That
scene.
is important clarification, Mr. Director. I want to get to the 20 members in that group chat. Have they been brought in for questioning? And the group chat that from our reporting that we're hearing is from after the assassination. Do you have the messages from before the assassination?
I think this is really important.
Some of them are out there.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
We've seen some of them because, like, some of the messages even after he got arrested were put out.
Oh, from the group chat that he was in?
Yeah, some of them are out there. I just remember reading them in an article. I haven't seen all of them, but some of them are out there.
Okay, and this is from a Discord group?
Well, it's whatever one he was talking about. He was joking and saying, "Oh, it's my doppelganger killed him."
Okay. But yes, what's going to happen to the 20 people that he was talking to that apparently, are they going to be, could they potentially be accomplices in this? I don't know.
Could be, yeah.
Well, let me take a step back and tell you what we were doing while we were there and how we were led to the suspect so that this all fits into the puzzle. We, as soon as we learned of the shooting, we were able to, I think Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23 local time on September 10th. By 12:39 p.m. local time, FBI assets were on scene securing the scene. We then launched at 10 a.m. the next day the first images of the suspect. Myself and the deputy arrived at 5 p.m. local time on September 11th. And then what we did was decided to have a press conference at 8 p.m. local, where we issued for the first time FBI obtained video footage that we seized from the security camera surveillance system and new images, enhanced images. I decided to release immediately to the public because we were working with the public and the media to find this killer. Shortly after that 8 p.m. release, at 10 p.m. local time, the suspect was in custody. Why? Because the father informed us, pursuant to an interview of him, that he looked at the video that we released that evening and the enhanced photos and identified the suspect. That's how fast the FBI was working to put out information in real time. And for comparative sake, the Boston bombing, the FBI didn't release images for 3 days. We know we didn't have 3 days. I made an executive decision on investigative and operational need, and it turned out to be the right move because the men and women of the FBI said that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
I just go back to this kid's dad. This kid's dad, who apparently he realized it was his son. He went to their preacher at church, talked to him about it, and then he realized he had to turn his son in. Flash, as a dad, could you even imagine having to, I think that
sure
speaks.
it tore him up. Yeah.
That speaks. I mean, because you're sending your kid to his death sentence as well at this point. Your family's changed. That's one thing that we haven't talked about here is the trickle down effect to his family as well. His brother, his mom, and I'm sure they've been in deep discussions, and I would like to think they probably haven't slept much since all this has gone down. The destruction of his family because of some fucking chat room, the indoctrination that this kid has felt.
Just a little bit that I've seen of his family life, it seems like he had a good family around him. I haven't deep dived into them or anything, but it seems like he had a good upbringing.
Yeah.
And he was like a 4.0 student.
Wouldn't shock me if he had some dad issues. That wouldn't shock me.
Maybe there's some. I mean, look, there's a lot
Not
of
an
people who
excuse, by the way. I'm just
have,
saying.
no.
No.
Yeah, well, or maybe felt like he couldn't live up to his dad or something like that. There's some sort of insecurity associated with. You see that oftentimes with young men, where their dad is a role model to them, but they also feel inferior to them, or they feel they don't want to let them down, or they want to prove something to them. Or they, there's so many layers to the parent and child relationship that could ultimately get here. You just don't know the motivation, which
I think he got radicalized in school. That's what I think.
School and Discord and
yeah.
Reddit.
I just think his father was a minister at some point. So I just look at that, and then I'm looking at the path that he went on is so the polar opposite of that it almost seems like a rebellion against
Yeah,
something.
there's some rebellion there for sure.
Yeah, you see that all the time where these kids are. I mean, we've all known the kid who was a preacher kid who ended up piercing his tongue and going out and getting a million tattoos, and he's just as a rebellion. And oftentimes they end up kind of returning home after rebelling, but that will not be happening with this situation. Let's go ahead and continue here because there's just a little bit more.
We knew when that video was released, we said it here on Fox and Friends, someone's going to recognize this person because someone was friends with him, his family, someone knows this guy. Those images were crystal clear. Tell us what you know about his background, his childhood, his father who had to turn him in.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore the last question. Going back to the group chats real quick, there's more than 20 individuals. But this is a great point. I want to lay out how this works. People think we can just get in these group chats and immediately find out who's in them. We, the FBI, are the investigatory body supporting multiple prosecutions and ongoing investigations. And that's another point. Our investigation at the FBI is ongoing. And there are scores of people in this Discord chat room. But we have to effectuate legal process. We have to go out there with search warrants so that if prosecutors want to later use this evidence, it's not tainted by being illegally obtained. We, the FBI, are running the investigation pointedly on the Discord chat group. There are scores of individuals that are going to be spoken to. There are also lots of family members and friends that have already been spoken to. And one more point on forensics. We were able to obtain in record time the text message chain between the suspect and his live-in partner, as well as other critical cellular information from our CAS team that analyzes cell phone data towers in the area to pinpoint the locations of the suspect and other individuals he was speaking with. This is critical information that the FBI processed and got to prosecutors so they can lawfully use it in a court of law. And our investigation, our interviews continue, but we've learned some shocking things when we spoke to his family and friends as well.
You want to share them? Those shocking things?
Sure.
By the way, great question by this guy. You know, we heard these. Share them. Go ahead.
And my job as FBI director is not to speak to motive, is to speak to the facts. And that's what I'm going to do. His family has collectively told investigators that he subscribed to left-wing ideology, and even more so in these last couple of years. And he had a text message exchange, he the suspect, with another individual, in which he claimed that he had an opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do it because of his hatred for what Charlie stood for. Those are factually accurate investigatory findings by the FBI that we've handed over to the local authorities and the federal authorities to make their prosecutorial decisions. But I believe in this instance of such public importance, the public has a right to know. And I've told you I'm committed to transparency, and that's what I'm doing here today.
Why didn't that person that he was talking to, why didn't that person say something?
You know, our investigation is ongoing. That's a great question. And we don't have an answer on that just yet.
But Mr. Director, you're right. Your job is not to speak to ideology, but you do have the BAU, the Behavior Analysis Unit, that are there. And my sources, people that are within the Bureau and outside that used to be FBI, tell me that the BAU has been encouraged not to tackle the transgender issue from an ideology standpoint.
Oof. If that's the case, holy moly. Like if they're saying don't touch this, it's, you know, yikes. Phoenix, you got anything on that?
No, it's just not surprising at all in the least, which is why I'm hoping that, again, events like this start inspiring people to demand more, to get more active and stuff like that. That way, things like this, if that is true, stop happening.
Right.
Have you heard that? Are you tackling that? I know you've only been there recently, but you can't have a political slant saying we're not going to attack different political ideologies because it's going to offend someone.
You're absolutely right. And that's why me and the deputy have been quarterbacking this investigation ourselves. There is no one at the FBI that's going to politicize this investigation. There's no one at Quantico or anywhere else that is going to say we are not looking at X or Y. We are looking at the facts, and that is why we are releasing the facts in record fashion. If you go back and look at historical cases like Luigi Mangione and the Boston bombing, how long did it take the Bureau to release information to the public? We're not doing that. Those two manhunts took 5 days, and they happened in downtown major metropolises. We apprehended our suspect in 33 hours because we were transparent and open with the American public, and we're going to continue to do that. So anyone that
Okay. Wow, but that's pretty big. If they're saying, "Hey, don't touch this," they're going to be upset if you touch this. I mean, we saw this. What happened? Year or so ago in Tennessee? We saw that and the manifesto and all that, and we don't want to release that. I have a question for you guys. Since this new administration and the idea of transparency, do you guys trust the FBI more than you have in previous years, or are you like most people where you can't trust them as far as you can throw them?
Where's the Epstein files?
Yeah, I don't trust them. I'll never trust government, no matter who's in it. I like
Phoenix?
Trump, but
I am
Yeah.
optimistic. I think it's in a good direction. It needs better work, obviously. But I feel that I've seen enough that I'm, especially, I've been following Patel for a very, very long time, as well as Bongino. And I do believe at the very least that we've got some leadership there that does want to make some change. Now, the Epstein thing, that's a whole other can of worms. We can talk about that another time. But as far as other things are concerned, I have seen steps in the right direction. I like what they're doing here. So cautiously optimistic, I put myself.
Understandable. Well, I'll tell you what, we talked about the reaction. There's kind of the update for when it comes to fuckface Tyler Robinson. I don't like saying the guy's name, but it's fuckface from here on out. Do you have common sense? You do? Oh, good. Well, you should probably watch this video here then.